Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Dr. Aniruddha Das. I will talk Markovnikov's rule and anti-Markovnikov's rule. Markovnikov's rule is when alkene reacts with hydrogen halide, it gives two types of product. The major product would be where the hydrogen of the hydrogen halide is added to the carbon center of the alkene that contains larger number of hydrogen, and the bromine part is added to the alkene carbon that contains larger number of alkyl group. So now question is, what is alkene and what is hydrogen halide? Alkene is a kind of hydrocarbon that contains carbon-carbon double bond, and the hydrogen halide is a compound that contains hydrogen and halide. So if we take the example, like if we take the propene, so it will give the major product where the hydrogen atom will be added to the carbon that contains larger number of hydrogen, and the bromine will be added to the carbon that contains lower number of hydrogen. Okay, now if we see the mechanism, so if we take the example propene, so this is an example of alkene and we treat it with HBr, it will give the product this one, because in Markovnikov's rule I mentioned the hydrogen part of the hydrogen bromide is added to the carbon of the alkene that contains larger number of hydrogen, and the negative part or the bromine part is added to the carbon that contains larger number of alkyl group. So this is the product. So now if we study the mechanism, so the propene in presence of HBr first it will produce H plus and Br minus. So in presence of H plus, the propene will undergo towards the electrophilic attack and it will gives this carbocation because this is stable, and after that the nucleophilic attack will occur, that is the bromine will attack to this carbocation and it will give this 2-bromopropane as the major product. So now let's talk about the anti-Markovnikov's rule. In this case the product will be opposite of the Markovnikov's product. So if we treat any unsymmetrical alkene like propene in presence of hydrogen bromide and hydrogen peroxide, so the bromine part will be added to the carbon of the alkene where larger number of hydrogen is present, and the hydrogen part of the hydrogen halide will be added to the carbon of the alkene where less number of hydrogen is present. In case of one propene, if we treat with the hydrogen in presence of hydrogen peroxide and HBr, the final product will be 1 propane. Now come to the anti-Markovnikov's rule. It's how it forms the product and its mechanism. We take the example 1 propene, we treat with HBr and H2O2, that is peroxide, and in presence of propene it reacts, so it gives 1 bromopropane. So how it forms the product? The mechanism: first hydrogen peroxide, it forms the radical. In presence of this radical, HBr forms bromine radical. Then the bromine radical, it reacts with the 1 propene and it attacks here, so it produces this one. After this radical attack to HBr and this bromine radical removes and a hydrogen is attached to this carbon, so it gives 1 bromopropane. as the major product.